All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Between Two Peers, a live stream show where anything that can go wrong will. We are your hosts, who we invite a guest from around the known world to answer your pressing questions about life, the universe, and everything. This week is sponsored by Kentucky Mules. Why, do you ask? Well, the humor of this episode may kick like a mule and be a little redneck. Bring the drinks. Also, the tech issues. You're going to need them. So, I am Tullia. And even though the show notes have the intros reversed, I'm just going to head right into my intro like I always do.
My bad.
My name's Tullia Alori. I am a Laurel in the West Kingdom, and I just really am excited tonight about our guest. And so without further ado, I'm going to move on to my lovely co-host, Helga, for her intro.
I'm Helga, or Sir Danger Muppet, also apparently blonde this evening. I'm a knight, a pelican, and a royal peer of the society. I am also super excited about our guest tonight, and probably going to be drinking pretty hard, because holy hell have we wrestled a bunch of tech issues. Our tech team are sweet, and also I can see Baby Ninja in the background making faces, so I'm wondering if we're continuing to have issues. Everybody knock on wood that nothing's going to fail.
Lots of fingers.
I would like to introduce our amazing guest tonight, Lochlainn Bjornulfsson. I think I didn't even murder that. Who is a Western unbelt and an absolutely amazing human. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lochlainn Bjornulfsson. Yeah! I'm an unbelt in the West, and yeah, that's about it. That's me.
That's pretty easy.
That was short and sweet there. I was trying to prep the next thing. So, I'm going to go over the drinking game real quick, just to refresh everybody, since we have updated the rules. So, when a host or a guest uses a non-SCA name when referring to somebody else, guaranteed I'm going to be drinking a lot tonight. When Tullia mentions Duke Thorfinn, her boyfriend, when someone says, before I was a peer, in my kingdom, or when I last reigned, which is really only against me there, when somebody calls for a soapbox, or somebody uses the term spite sprinkles. So, for everybody drinking along at home, please stay safe. However, none of us are really driving anywhere anyways, so I, say drive yourself safely to the couch.
Some nights, I tell you, after we finish the show, it's even kind of a question as to whether I can make it to the couch safely.
Truth. So with that, do we want to start into the questions?
Yes. I accidentally just turned my camera off, everybody, so don't freak out when it goes off. But anyway, yeah, let's go to the questions. First one that is up is from Signy. As a Scadian, who inspires you?
A lot of people inspire me. I need a lot of inspiration. One thing, my lady is just mind-blowingly inspirational. She just gets projects done. Like, I plan and I think about it, and she just knocks them out. Other people who inspire me, well, Her Grace here, Helga, inspired me at my very first tournament, where I'm sitting there, not authorized that day. Went ahead and just was offered shade, and was sitting right behind her. She had no idea that I was eavesdropping like a creeper. And I'm listening to her, talking about conventions in the West. I'm like, I didn't do that. I fucked up there. Oh, no, I ruined that. Yep, no, I suck. I suck all over. But it gave me that drive to, do better. My knight inspires me a lot because it's this kind of quiet steel, which I really appreciate. And some people just go, oh, he's quiet. No. He's waiting. And I try to become that a little bit, but I'm very bad at not talking. And I would say Viscount Sir Fergus is a huge inspiration for me. At my first event as an adult, I showed up to the event, and I was with my consort at the time. And there was a couple of classes on fighting, and I was like, yes, fighting, I'll get back into it. And then there was a class for consorts. And I was like, babe, you should go to that. That's for girls. And then he heard me say that.
Oh,
guess what class I took?
Fergus is the best.
I know. Because you said that, you should be in this class. Very important that you are in this class, not that class. Oh, I took that class and learned how very wrong I was. I say stupid, ignorant shit sometimes. I admit, fully ignorant, and I will take instruction. So, that really opened my eyes to how to be incorrect, but how to fix it. So he inspired me in that way. There are more, but there's so many.
Helga?
So I'm going to go with one of my inspirations right now, and he's getting a lot of shout-outs, so I'm actually going to do two. Is Leohtulf and his never-ending drive to just be and be better. He is always trying to make a platform to lift everybody up. He is turning into the epitome of the knight that is going to carry a kingdom and do it by himself. And it's amazing to watch. And also I worry about my friend where I'm like, hey, can we take a break for a minute? You badass. I understand that you're being a badass and all, but what are you doing for you? And so I'm just super impressed. And then actually a non-fighter inspiration is actually, and this is going to be a little in the family, so I'm really sorry, is actually Eva, who Lochlainn also gave a shout out to. She's my protege, and I absolutely adore her, but also she is learning about her boundaries so much right now. She is also inspiring in her art, and she is vivacious and aggressive and just everything that a badass boss bitch is gonna be. And she is taking so much time to work on herself so she can actually be that in public and carry herself well and with the noble bearing that she's working on. And I am just so impressed every day by her. And so anytime I fall down, I just imagine that little tiny angry person picking me back up and be like, do better.
Eva's a rat. She is. We're big fans.
Yeah.
Also, she's probably standing right behind Lochlainn right now, about ready to murder him if he doesn't say nice things. Which is totally valid. For me, I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to make kind of a broader assessment of inspiration, and I'm going to say our Queen of the West and all of our princesses of the principalities of the West right now are fucking killing it and being amazing and doing really, it's hard to be inspirational when you're online. I think it's hard to be inspirational in a capacity where you're on stage all the time, like you would be at a normal event. But to be online and to have to maintain just some semblance of enthusiasm for a game that nobody can play right now, to still be, showing up and smiling and inspiring and sharing and facilitating other people, recognizing other people, and to keep, like I just said, to keep that enthusiasm going when we're all flagging. And I think that our current crop of consorts, queens and princesses, or queen and princesses, are doing a fantastic job. And I find that incredibly inspirational in the face of the odds right now that we're all up against.
Yeah.
I would second that.
Oh my god, I accidentally closed the window that has the next question. My bad, I'm sorry, hang on. Everything's just a shit show. I got it.
Technical difficulties.
I am exactly where we can't have nice things tonight.
It's
okay, so the second question tonight actually comes from Mr. Sassy Seamstress. what is the hardest aspect of fighting or your art for you to overcome? And how did you overcome it?
Trusted, I think faith. I'm going to just plug a virtue here. Just faith in myself. Or to know, hey, that was a good shot. And maybe I should consider that a good shot. Like, and not, I found myself when I first started fighting going, oh my God, I might have hurt that person. Don't take that. Or like wanting to apologize for what I just did in violence to this person. And I go, don't take that. Please don't take that. But as I've gone along, I have learned the technique. I know my power. I know when it's not enough. And I will call that back. And that's really important for me is to know when to go, hey, you're wrong. To myself, you're wrong. Let people know you're wrong. So that was a big, just the faith in myself to understand that, hey, you are fallible, or hey, other people can be fallible. And it's okay for you to say, you want to think about that? So that's what was harder for me to overcome.
I think for me, inertia is the hardest thing for me to overcome, and that's when you really don't have the inspiration. That it kind of just maybe your inspiration for your art fizzles, and you're kind of like, okay, and you put it down, you walk away, and you might not pick it up again for months, maybe longer. And so it sits there unfinished and in a shameful state for however long it takes to get the inertia is the hardest thing for me. Okay, I'm getting feedback again.
Yep.
Okay.
That was my bad. I was trying to...
Okay. That just threw me off completely. But yeah, inertia is my hardest thing to get over with. Because today is all about the technical difficulties. So, whatever. Technical difficulties are also a hard thing to overcome, especially when you sew. So... Okay. Overcoming it, it's just sitting down and doing it. It's just actually just forcing yourself to sit down and work on the thing. And usually the inertia kind of goes away. It can take a little while to, get back into the flow of it. But yeah, that's... Oh no, don't look at porn, Carius. I thought that we all could see it. So Baby Ninja, I heard him say on the back end, he said, we can all see your screen, Carius, because Carius had to restart. And it turns out that none of you guys can see it, just we can see it. So anyway, Carius is not watching porn. Right now. At least not on the screen. All right. God, today is so weird. Today is just so fucking weird.
I'm just drinking to that.
I just gotta go off. It's just today is just the weirdest fucking... I'm sorry.
No, and at some point when you're cool enough, you gotta put on the hood so all three of us can be, together for a minute.
I'll do that in a second after you're done.
The hardest aspect of my fighting to overcome, and how did I overcome it? So I'm going to go with, I haven't actually overcome this. I work really hard to try to, but the fraud. So I severely lack faith in self. I can find 1,000,000 miles of faith in somebody else. I could walk up and tell Lochlainn, look, I know your day sucked. However, you've improved by you're stepping deeper laterally, and there's all these other improvements, and you may be dying because of this, but these other improvements are creating a base for your fighting. I can do that for new fighters. I can do that for artisans, everything else like that. I'll find the faith and carry the faith for other people. I really, really suck at carrying it for myself. And so I continually fight the fraud. I continually fight the lack of faith in self and the lack of belief that I'm worthy of any accolade that I've gotten. Like the Knight's Belt, oh my god, that screwed me for so long and still does. because I feel like I have to continually, I'm trying against this unknown entity of my own worth, which is bullshit, by the way.
What, your worth is bullshit?
What was that?
I said your worth is bullshit, or are you struggling against it as bullshit?
I struggle against it like a fictitious idea that I have to be something to be worth it. And that idea will always upgrade to the next level as soon as I hit where I'm like, oh, cool, I figured out this. And then my brain is just like, so now you have to be this cool to ride this ride. Nope, now you have to be this cool to ride this ride. And so I constantly fight that. And I'll tell anybody that has that same thing is never give up. You can never really quiet that voice. You can learn to overcome that voice just by being like, I am exactly who I am right now, and stop comparing and despairing against some fantasy ideal of what you think you should be in the moment. Be yourself. And I have to remind myself constantly of that.
Okay. So before we go to the next question, this is some context here. There was no way I was putting the full costume on, by the way, because it's all black wool and it's 110 degrees outside right now. So, so this is the hood. And with a little bit of an explanation, last year, Halloween, there's an event that falls around Halloween, Snog and Korner. And Helga and I decided to go in costume and Disenchantment, the cartoon, if you guys watched it. If you haven't watched it, you should. So we decided to do like a medieval version of it. It's already medieval, but like a SCA medieval version. She was Princess Bean, which was funny because she was queen at the time. And I was Lucy.
And then Lochlainn showed up dressed as a gnome, and so he became Alpo. Like that.
And so that was our promo photo was the three of us as the characters. But anyway, that was silly. And yeah, there's no way in hell I'm wearing the whole thing right now. It's just I would die of heat stroke, and you all would like not have a Tullia in the show.
I wanted to be the littlest gnome.
Yeah, but look, it's even got like a little,
it's got a little demon tail.
The little tail on the little demon tail. I was really ridiculously proud of this idea. I got it also clear. Anyways, let's move on.
We ready for the next question?
Yeah, let's do the next question. That's my question. Agnes says, or asks, what changes would you like to see in the SCA, and what changes would you dislike to see happen?
Can I think about that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can talk about that one.
You can punt it.
Sorry, I realized that I was slowly like slumping down in my chair, so everybody just got like the side eye real quick as I was trying to readjust. So what changes would I like to see in the SCA, and what changes would I dislike to see happen? So this is where I'm going to be a total, apparently, pain in the ass. Something that I would like to see change in the SCA is assumed gender roles within the peerages. I went over this last week, so I feel like that's a cheat. So I'm going to do a different one. I would actually like to see a better, umbrella understanding of what the peerages are. And I think that one of the things is knowledge has been hoarded. We went through a phase where we started hoarding knowledge and hoarding understanding and tradition. And I would really like to get back into the phase in the SCA where we share it freely so we can discuss it. I don't think that our tradition should be kept secret until you figure it out. I think that we should very easily be able to say, you are new, this is a tradition, and this is why. And we've lost a lot of the why, so we just assume people should know it because we can't explain it, and that drives me nuts. And so I would like to see a better knowledge base of, like, why do the peerages work this way? Why do we bow to the throne when we walk past it? Like, those lessons, I think, need to be passed on so we can continue to grow, and so traditions can be honored without a dogmatic nature. What changes would I dislike to see happen? I'm going to be super unpopular here. I'm a heavy fighter, and I really don't want to see crown change. I really don't want to see how we choose our our royalty change, and I realize that I speak from a place of privilege there. I speak from a place of having been there. I speak as a fighter. I speak as so many things. You can literally checkbox the list off there. And I'm trying to be open-minded to those conversations, and I'm trying to make sure that I am accessible and listening in those conversations. But I'm having a really hard time with them. And so that, to be open and honest, that is something that that I would dislike to see change, but I'm not willing to die on that hill, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that makes total sense. Lochlainn, have you got them? Thunk up an answer? Because I can go if you haven't, if you want more time.
I have thunk up a bit of an answer. I don't know about other kingdoms, but in my kingdom,
in the West,
I got an excellent education in how to do. Like, so with the heavy fighting path, I have served on a lot of guards. I was mentored one-on-one by people, and so I was very fortunate. There's no real handbooks. Like, some people don't really learn well by just doing. Some people need a handbook. And I'm not one of those people, but it has been mentioned to me, hey, is there a handbook? Is there a map? Or is there some way to explain to me how to do this? Because I don't get it. And I can't pick it up by watching. So some kind of, it's not just on the guard, it's for like court and for other things that I've watched and been part of.
Yep, we lost.
Oh no! Which means the cameras are going to adjust and everything else is going to go weird. Does somebody else have ping in him, or do you want me to ping him?
Oh, you go ahead and ping. I can.
He's back! He's back!
He's back!
I'm working on it.
It's in the middle of such a beautiful rant.
Yeah.
Kind of got on a soapbox there, but
drink.
I just want to drink. But yeah, sometimes it'd be nice to go to the cheat sheet. I think that would be a good change. It's just to have one. Things that I don't want changed, and again, I don't want to echo other people, but it's one of the, don't really have hills that I want to die on, but kind of want to start up the hill of the, I don't want to see how crown selection and coronet selection has changed, but that's from my fighter privilege. I am of sound body enough to partake, and I guess it would be worth listening to some of the arguments against it, but my brain just goes, tradition!
You're a Westie, that's why.
Yeah. It's how it's been since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know another way.
Oh, and that's, I'm sorry, Sassy, before you step in on this one, that's actually something that I'm fighting a lot with too, is I don't know another way, and it's almost that fear of change, and so I'm trying to address that and listening in the conversations and understanding that the heavy fighters are the power structure of the SCA, and I'm just like, I feel like they're like no pause.
I got feelings. I mean, this is inevitably a soapbox issue, I think. Look, I said it again, we all have to drink. And the thing is, before I go into my two things, I'm not a heavy fighter, and for over 20 years, it was like 21, 22 years that I was in the SCA before anyone ever fought for me. And so I, weirdly enough, never thought that there was anything to question about the way we determine crowns and coronets in the SCA. It seemed to me like a completely logical and fair system. It's two people meeting on the field of honor, and they fight, and it's not even that who wins, it's kind of who agrees that they win. It's a dialogue between two people being acted out with, violence. But it seems to me, and it still seems to me, even now as a consort, who is a little bit more emotionally invested in the selection process than I was before, it seems to be the fairest. It really does. There's no popularity contest, at least not in the West Kingdom. And that's something that I think that, and yes, we can drink about that in a second once I finish my thought, but the West Kingdom has open lists. Anybody can enter it as long as they're a member and they're authorized. And it's not like you have to go through a pre-approval selection or a residency requirement or anything like that. You show up, you got your, a kit that passes inspection, you got your member card and your fighter card, and go you, right? You could be king, queen, whoever, at the end of the day. And I know that's not the case in many other kingdoms. In many other kingdoms, there's a lot of requirements about it. It seems like it's a much more selective process. And I've heard, I've not witnessed, not having lived in other kingdoms, but I've heard some of the criticisms about the closed list or the invitational list is the idea that crowns could kind of pick and choose who gets to be in the fight. That doesn't happen in the West Kingdom. And so I think we're coming at it from kind of a weirdly unique perspective. Show up. If you're legal to fight, then fucking fight, get in there. And we've had people go out and fight that were missing limbs. So we've had disabled people fighting. We've had people who are, as long as the marshals say you're safe to get on the field and take the field, you're safe to get on the field and take the field. Not in every situation, sure. But in the broadest sense, it covers a lot of bases. These ideas about how, creating like a polling system or having the peerages poll, do a rotating crown from each of the peerages, and then all the peerages vote or all the populace will vote. And I'm like, that is the swiftest way to get into the nastiest politics you could possibly imagine. And then other people say, well, we could do like an arts tournament or whatever, where like the artists will all present and then the best artist wins the crown for that season or whatever. And I'm still thinking from my end, I'm a Laurel, for God's sake. And we can't even figure out in the West Kingdom how to run a basic competition without creating some really unhappy participants and entrants. And that's a problem. I don't want to see that on something that is as high stakes as a crown, because it's going to get ugly. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, it just seems like it's the fastest, fairest way. And I get that people always will come back and say things like, well, yeah, but when you have like the same 3 or 4 men who constantly kind of like rotate the crown, how is that fair? And valid argument. But I think the system itself is set up a lot more fairly than something like an arts competition or a popularity contest polling, kind of a situation. So that was my soapbox. I'm sure I'm going to get hate mail for it, but whatever. We're talking about opinions.
I figured, right? I might too. I believe the Lady of the Lake has appeared.
Hold on 1 minute. Helga, you have frozen. You're going to need to turn your camera on and off again, or off and on again. Issues.
Oh yeah. Hey, at least I froze in a decent like looking up and to the left. The Lady of the Lake. Yeah, the Lady of the Lake says hi.
Hi.
The Lady of the Lake says, I miss you.
Oh, I miss you.
Too.
Oh, here. Lochlainn, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The strangest thing a queen has ever asked you to do.
Oh, I've got a very specific answer of that.
And then there's a follow-up question. Was it me or was it Helga?
It was Helga by a mile. One night, we were in our cups. We were having a good old time. And I was on her guard. And she pointed to one knight who was in my inspirations question. And she said, Lochlainn, no humps or name expletive. And I was in my cups, and my queen gave me something to do. So I did it. And I walked up, and lifted feet off the ground through some hip into it. And he turned around and he threw a hand at me and he went, "Whoa!" Saw who it was. He went, "I fucking like that." And he walked away.
I would like to note that I went and later apologized to said knight and was like, "Hey, by the way, we were drinking. That was 100% my bad. If you're going to be mad at anybody, you need to be mad at me." And then all I got was, "I knew you were behind that."
Sue.
Oh, wait, we got another note.
I knew it!
I felt terrible immediately. Like no waiting. I just got yelled at by my favorite uncle. Just crushed.
I felt so bad, actually, because Lochlainn, looked at me like somebody had kicked a puppy, or he had accidentally kicked the puppy, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm an asshole." And so I tried to be very nice to Lochlainn for the rest of the reign, because I got him in trouble once, and I was just like, I don't want to make him sad again, because Lochlainn sad makes me really sad. And also, I would like to note the lady that says, "Ha! I'm gonna go tell Hevek that I'm not either a pain in the butt." Is there a second one to that, or just you're not a pain in the butt? Okay, statement. Statement. I am not a pain in the ass. She is gonna go announce that to Hevek.
I will say, marching with shouldered flamingos was one of my all-time favorite SCA moments behind my queen. Oh, that was excellent.
It was a fun reign. Alice's reign, Lady of the Lakes reign. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I think she had a pretty good combination of whimsy and fuck it, that I find particularly appealing. So
can confirm.
Yeah.
Sorry, zipped back real quick. She still has the flamingos, by the way.
Of course she does.
Which I'm pretty sure Hevek has actually tried to lose a couple times.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So what's the strangest thing that you've been asked to do, Tullia?
Fuck, I don't even know where to start. You know what? I don't know. And I had this problem earlier when I was talking to Thorfinn, who I live with, who is in my face constantly because we are on top of each other all the time because we have nowhere to go. So I've got to talk about him, if anybody.
Oh my!
Anyway, I was talking to Thorfinn today about one of the questions that's coming up, and I was having a hard time thinking of an answer to it. And so now I'm also because it's kind of in the similar vein as this question, and I'm like, I've been in the SCA so long, and I've seen such weird shit that it doesn't even register as weird anymore. My queen goes and tells me to do something random. Okay, cool. As long as nobody is going to get hurt, why not? It doesn't even get, it doesn't even stick in my brain. I don't even question it anymore. If I think of one, I'll figure it out. I'll tell you guys. Maybe what it is, I need to sleep on it, and then when we have our post show, chat on Monday morning. That would actually be a good question for this, the Monday morning question from today's show. Think about that. Anyway, weirdest thing. Yeah, all of you guys listening, watching, think of the weirdest thing that your queen has ever asked you to do.
Oh, yeah, that's probably going to be the Monday question.
I think it's going to be the Monday question. And I'm going to punt on Monday. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the weirdest thing. So I've done some pretty weird things, including sprinting across the entire site of Estrella to go make a grilled cheese at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that just sounds normal to me.
I ended up making enough grilled cheese that I came back with an entire plate of grilled cheese, and all the royals were like, "Who is this guard member, and how do we make sure she stays around?" Because they were in their cups. But I'm trying to think of the weirdest thing a queen has asked me to do. I have beeped a king backwards to his tent because he was so drunk. And he, I'm short. I'm only 5'5".
I love how you keep saying you're short. I'm like, bitch, you're still 6 inches tall.
You're a midget.
Whatever. We like little person. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. You are very close to a wee person.
I'm fun-sized. Let's just be clear.
Can confirm. But one of the queens asked me to take his king to bed. Put him away. Go park the king. He is too drunk. I don't want to deal with him. And so, I had this king by the shoulders, and he could not really there was no steering. And so he turns around and gives me this huge bear hug, and he's just like, "You're awesome, and I'm really glad you're in my universe." And I'm like, "You are really drunk. Oh my god." And so I parked his head on my shoulder as he was mumbling, and beeped him out of a party, and then towards royal camp to where I beeped him in the backup sound that you use on a big rig, because dude is gigantic. And then tossed him through his tent door, where I was just like, I am not walking into that tent. Not my territory. Hell no. Just beep beep park. So that was probably one of the weirder ones, because it was really funny, but also it was just one of those moments in time where I'm just like, how many rumors are going to start off this? You big moop, go to bed.
Yeah, still not coming up with anything, although I have, oh yeah, there was a couple of times I dragged some royalty back to bed, not in that way.
I did get myself kicked out of a party, so my royalty didn't get kicked out.
Oh,
well, that's taking one for the team.
Yeah, I took one for the team there.
Yeah,
soldier right there.
Alrighty, let's move on to the next question.
All right, so the next question comes from Erica the Two Ravens. Have you ever felt that any of your ascribed statuses or identities in the SCA, an aspect that can't be changed, and this is not really choice, has hindered you in the SCA? And if so, how do you get past that hindrance?
Could you copy and paste that so I could read it? That's a long question.
I'll send that to you in chat.
That would be... Wow. I don't...
Do you want to tackle this one first, Tullia? It's a small shot, because I didn't get the entire name out.
Yeah. Have you ever felt...
By the way, I was flipping up Baby Ninja, who was sassing me in the background.
We just randomly flip each other off. Yeah, that's what we do. Anything about my ascribed status? I'm short. I'm really short. I'm short. I can't change that about who I am. But I've come to grips with that many, many years ago. And there's also, I'm a woman. I can absolutely say that there have been some instances where I felt belittled, probably because I was little and female. Either belittled, talked down to, brushed off. It took a long time for me in the SCA to get to the point where people took me seriously. And I really didn't think that, I don't, as a teenager, for sure I wasn't taken seriously, but not many teenagers are. In my 20s, it was still a real struggle because I looked young. I looked young, really young back then. And then in my 30s, it got a little easier, and then I got laureled, and then it got way easier because suddenly I had this peerage that kind of gave me this de facto status. But the experience in the lead up to that really did make me hyper aware of how women are sometimes, even in the SCA, belittled and demeaned and dismissed. And it's hard. And it's something that it's really hard to call people on when it happens. You also just get extra belittled, demeaned, and dismissed oftentimes, or labeled as sensitive, or, can't take a joke, or any of those things. But learning how to stand up for myself and be vocal for myself, that took a while to really kind of cultivate it to the point where I don't beat myself up over speaking up for myself the way I used to when I was younger, because, culturally ingrained gender stereotypes are a whole thing. It takes a lot to get over them. The good news is, young female identifying people out there, it gets easier the older you get. Your fucks lessen considerably the older you get. So, well, Baby Ninja says he's doing it all wrong. I'm like, well, arguably Baby Ninja was not conditioned from birth to be, meek and mild-mannered and not rock the boat and make other people feel uncomfortable by speaking their minds. So he said fair. But it takes a long time to kind of undo that stuff. And I'm not even good at it now. I still, every now and then, step up to that line of being like, yo, that's not cool. And then have to sit there and be like, oh, God, did I do the right thing? So that is hard. What was part 2 of that question? How did I get past this? Just, for me, it was just a matter of getting more confidence and giving less fucks. And like I said, it came kind of, the older I got, the less fucks I had. So I should be like amazing by the time I hit 50. I'll just be like, yeah, whatever, fuck you. All right.
You ready to tackle this one, Lochlainn?
Yeah, I am. That's a big question. So I'm a big guy. I know now I do not give off the vibe of being the quiet, kind of shy guy, but when I first show up to the SCA, I don't talk unless spoken to. If I show up to a party where I don't know people, I'm zip-lipped. And I kind of talk a little bit slowly. And this has actually hindered me not only in the SCA, but in real life. I kind of get confused for kind of a Lenny persona, like, George, tell me about the rabbits. Like, they see a big guy and they think dumb. They think kind of just big and there to lift heavy things, and that's the end of him. And I have actually struggled with that considerably in the last year or so. But honestly, just time. That's what helps me get past it. It's just people get to know me, and even when they get to know, like, I've had somebody say in front of a group of people after I said something, somebody went, "Wow, that's a really good point." And I had somebody interject in that group that said, "Oh yeah, Lochlainn's surprisingly smart," and it that cut real deep. Like, so I had to really think about how people viewed me, and I came to the conclusion that, hey, people are going to feel how they're going to feel. I don't actually have control of that. I can just be myself as much as possible, and then eventually the people that need to know me and see the real me will do that. People that don't, okay.
I have to say, like, Lochlainn, I haven't known you very long, but I always just thought you always looked like a nice, fun person to be around. So that was the impression I got, was like, hey, that guy looks cool. So keep being you. You was pretty good.
I don't have a choice. Hey.
Lochlainn is totally one of those people that I was like, man, because I was an unbelt, and I was like, this is one of my buddies. And then I realized that I got knighted, and I was like, shit, that kind of defines a squire for me. Son of a bitch.
I have actually a good example. The first time that I ever met Havek is at West Antir War. Helga had pressed gang me into the beta test of the Kingsman.
Yeah.
She brings me before Havek, and she goes, hey, I got this guy. We're going to have him in the unit. And he goes, okay, I want to have you doing cavalry. You're going to run around a lot. You think you can do that? And I just went. And I'd watched Havek since I was a kid, like, winning crown, and, like, he was king when we first came back, and I was a little starstruck, and I think so. And that was my entire response. And he just gives this look like, at Helga, not at me. He goes, this the face just said, this is what you've brought me.
You do a really good Havek impression, actually. That's scarily.
Can confirm.
necessarily accurate. Say it in fewer words, though. Maybe with fewer words.
Rebecca's wordy. You just have to quietly listen. Like that's
the weirdest thing. Like when, yeah, I have had this with like another guy, another friend of ours, Viscount Rorik, where like for the longest time he really never said anything to me, and then suddenly one day like he starts like messing with me, you know, like kind of like I think I was walking past and he like sticks his foot out to trip me. And ever since then, he's been like, can't shut that guy up. But yeah, you have to reach a certain point with some of these people to have them like think that you're somebody that they can have a conversation with or try to trip. I don't know. Havek wouldn't do that. I don't know.
Oh man, like our tech crew, by the way, has us on like point, so I'll answer this and then they can run the commercials. Yeah. God, now I'm gonna have to read this.
Yeah, it's
like all the tech issues were a little further in our cups than normal by this point. So my ascribed status in the SCA turned into like that tomboy, or that like really tough chick, and so I felt like I continued to have to be that, and so I wasn't really feminine. I didn't really explore that other side of myself in it because I felt like to continue to be accepted within the SCA, I needed to continue to be that tough, hard-ass, like, slightly wild child of a kid. And as I've grown into being an adult, I can still fuck you up well wearing lipstick and eyeshadow, and so screw it, I'm going to do that too. And so what I would say is, how did I get past that hindrance is you cannot carry the burdens of how other people see you. You must understand that everywhere in life, the person that somebody else sees you as is a character in their story. You can never be exactly that. They're going to write the story around your interactions because, truthfully, everybody that we interact with and touch, we only have a part of their personality. We only have a part of that interaction. Even when you're close to them, the more of their story you know, the closer you are to who they actually are. But you're not wearing that skin. You're not wearing those scars. You're not wearing their experiences. You're not wearing their thought processes. And so they're actually a story. And if you can remember that about yourself, you can rewrite your character like that. And rewrite your character and who you are freely. Because either they will accept that version of your character or they won't. But you cannot live to fulfill their idea of you. Because you will fall to it eventually. You will crash and burn. You will try to be the ultimate hero and you won't own your shit. Or you will try to be too much of one thing for them. And thus you are sacrificing who you are. And so when I had that like epiphany, I just started being myself. Like I'm sitting here at a show in a blonde wig. Like a year ago.
You look so good in that wig.
I feel really weird. I feel very feminine looking in this wig and I actually kind of waxed my brain out. But that's part of it is understanding who you're trying to mimic. What story arcs are you trying to mimic that other people have written about you? And that's one thing that Lochlainn, I actually lost my shit on you about this at the bar. 2 years ago at a coronet where we were bullshitting and you were talking like, well, I feel like I need to be this. And I'm like, fuck that noise. Just fuck that noise. Be yourself and be who you are. Because it doesn't matter if you're on guard or you're on this thing, you're taking on a role and you get to write that role. Tullia, I believe you and I have had a relatively similar conversation about this, about what it means to be a consort. You get to write your character. They interpret your character. Never fall to how they write your character. Because otherwise, you will just continually play catch up and sacrifice who and what you are.
Yep.
So that's my really weird, yes, I've totally ascribed to a status, and fuck that noise.
I think you're the prettiest badass fighter I know. So there. And it's okay.
I don't know. I want to see Lochlainn in this blonde wig now.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
I'd wear it.
But that kind of goes. I know that we're gonna go to commercial pretty soon or pretty quickly, but I did want to throw this in here too. Is that stereotypes are, they're a thing for a reason because you can spot patterns, but one of the stereotypes that I hate in the SCA is that fighters are just dumb stick jocks. I know so many smart, creative, talented, soulful, like intelligent, like knock your socks off, smart motherfuckers who are fighters and would just blow your mind. And I love intellectual people. I love artistic people. I love people that are passionate about their skills and are, that enthusiasm for me is something that is a huge attractor. And these people that I've met, because I used to have that same idea, dumb stick jocks, blah, blah, blah. And then I started meeting fighters. And I started meeting knights. I started becoming friends with fighters and knights. And I started realizing, holy shit, like, you're not all just dumb stick jocks. Like, no, they're not. They're people. They're human beings. They have thoughts and feelings. And, some are just like insanely creative. Like Helga is a really good example of that. Like, blows my mind, her art. Super good art. Yeah, she's a good fighter too, and she's a knight. Doesn't mean that she's just this dumb stick swinging bimbo or whatever.
I'm pretty sure occasionally I'm totally a stick jock.
Yeah, but you're not just a stick jock, Anyways, that was my soapbox, little other mini soapbox. So let's go.
Yeah.
Commercial.
Well met. I'd like to take the next few seconds to tell you about White Wolf in Phoenix. They offer narrow wares which consist of trim, belts, laces, garters, and much more in natural fibers. We also offer yarn and thread for weaving your own unique items. If you need the tools and the books to weave your own, look no further. We've got it in stock. Other things we have to offer are custom belt favors and trim made especially for you. Our fibers come in cotton, linen, wool, and silk, and with 45 vibrant colors to choose from. Come to our website at www.whitewolfinphoenix.com, and if you have a Facebook account, you can look us up there as well. When we can get back to events, stop by our shop. We often offer wares at Burka, Australia, Gulf Wars, Penzance, and Battlemore. You never know where we're going to show up, so be sure to check out the website. And thank you. Are you an SCA, fair, or LARP merchant? Since COVID-19 has hit and we've had to stay in place, so many events have been canceled. How do you make a buck? How do you keep your product going? How do you get the attention of all those people that are doing nothing now? The answer is to place an ad with Between Two Peers. You can supply us with images and copy, and we'll take care of your ad, or you can make your own. To get started, message one of the ladies from the show or message one of the tech crew. We want to get you out there. We want to promote your product. Thanks for listening. Well met. I'd like to take the next second to tell you about White Wolf in Phoenix. They offer narrow wares which consist of trim, belts, laces, garters, and much more in natural fibers. We also offer yarn and thread for weaving your own unique items. If you need the tools and the books to weave your own, look no further. We've got it in stock. Other things we have to offer are custom belt favors and trim made especially for you. Our fibers come in cotton, linen, wool, and silk, and with 45 vibrant colors to choose from. Come to our website at www.whitewolfinphoenix.com, and if you have a Facebook account, you can look us up there as well. When we can get back to events, stop by our shop. We often offer wares at Burka, Australia, Gulf Wars, Penzance, and Battlemore. You never know where we're going to show up, so be sure to check out the website. And thank you.
Hi, welcome back. I don't know. We never agreed on who would do this, right?
Yeah, we actually didn't. We've got to have to figure this out now that we have commercials.
Today's episode is brought to you by Moist.
We love feedback on the commercials, by the way. Send it out to your merchant friends that we are now trying to host commercials on the show. We are really trying to support our local merchants. Again, next week we will post all of the links to the merchants that you have seen. We highly recommend going and spending money with them.
Yeah, they like your money and they give you cool things in exchange for it. So it's a trade-off. Okay. Now, where are we? We're with the question. This question is Bjorn of the Northern Sea. What things that have happened during this pandemic that have positively impacted your SCA experience that you might not have known had the pandemic never taken place? So, like, positives about the pandemic in the SCA context.
Positives. I have been doing way more pell work. Like, so much pell work. Not this week, obviously. So I did every day last week, which I have never done in my life.
Is it just because this week just fucking hot?
No, this week I had to make up for a lot of work that I missed last week because I wake up at about 2:30, 3 o'clock because I work graveyard. And so that 4:30 to 5 to 6 period, that's golden hour for me working outside. We have a half acre. It is a whole thing. But I've been trying to at least a couple of times a week. I know I fail often, but a couple of times a week I try to get into pell work with Leohtulf, Sir Leohtulf, Viscount Leohtulf, all the things. Pell meeting and Zoom is amazing, and we all just sit there and it's like a practice, and we get to do pell work together. There's so many people, and I learned that I am not good. Yeah.
And that's something that's good because you get to get better the more you practice.
So I am slightly not good. It's science.
It's incremental, but you know what? At a certain point, you're going to just become like fucking amazing, and you're going to be like, God damn, I'm really good at pell work.
Flow is getting better. Timing is getting better.
Good.
Because of the pandemic.
So one of the things that's happened during the pandemic that I think positively impacted the SCA is the sharing of inter-kingdom anthropology. So that same thing that I went on rant, like, well, okay, question number 2 where I went on rant of, like, traditions shouldn't be, like, safeguarded and kept in, like, some super secret, like, you must handshake this way to, like, ride this ride. I think that the pandemic has actually given us a much better view of inter-kingdom anthropology and inter-kingdom knowledge than we had before because it's breaking barriers. So when you do a class and it's online, you have people from around the known world attending. And so the mannerism, like basically the kingdom mannerisms are then presented to a worldwide audience. And so we get to learn why some kingdoms do things other ways, or they do something this way. Shit, that's not how we do it, but maybe this works. And so I think the sharing of knowledge and culture has accelerated exponentially because of the pandemic and because of basically forcing us online to interact. Also, I think that we have a deeper and much more amazing pool of knowledge than we did before. A lot of the tech fear we've had to get over because in mundane life, our jobs have moved online, or we've had to learn how to interact with family and friends online. And so now those people that originally were tech, like they weren't as tech savvy, the learning curve has accelerated, and now we're sharing knowledge on multiple platforms, which just is amazing. Like I can go take a class from somebody in the East Kingdom on one day and somebody from Meridies in another day, and then from the middle the next day, or in the same day when somebody does a kingdom collegium and people from other kingdoms are brought out. And sorry, I'm stuttering really bad.
I didn't think so. You just
No
sound
idea
normal.
why.
Nope.
Sound normal to me.
And so I really love, like, the pandemic sucks, but I love the wealth of knowledge that's come out of it.
I can't argue there. I think the sharing of knowledge and the opening up of the borders, essentially, in the SCA has given just such huge insights into stuff that we never really would have found out about had, unless we actually went to that kingdom and became like it's kind of an accelerated like acclimation process. Instead of moving to a new kingdom and becoming acclimated to it and understanding their traditions and all that stuff, you get kind of a fast track into a lot of it. And a lot of it's been drinking from a fire hose. Feels like that. The changes that are coming out super quick. I mean, comparatively, when I first started in the SCA in 1993, there were years at a time where there would be like no real BOD activity, board of directors activity, that anything substantial would change. There'd be issues, somebody would get named, or somebody would be like brought up for like an R&D, a revocation and denial of membership. And it would take years to get through to that point. Like that person was still going to events and still like having toxic behaviors for years before it felt like, anyway, maybe not quite years, but it was a long freaking time. And now we're seeing these things during the time of COVID, vastly accelerated. It can go from, somebody's brought up with a problem person is brought up before the board, and then within the next like couple of months, investigation's been done and they've been kicked out, or they're kind of provisionally suspended until they can do an investigation, which is something I don't remember ever happening really until very recently, but maybe they did. I just wasn't paying that much attention to it. But my good thing has been, as much as like I was talking about things kind of being really fast paced now, I think that it has slowed down a lot of the frenzied activity that I felt in how I played the SCA. And we're heavy players. Like we probably go to at least one event a month, if not more. And we're talking camping events and wars and traveling places. And it especially if you're involved in a raid where you are raiding, it can be like every weekend. It's just something that you're gotta go. Like the house is a disaster. You don't have a chance to clean up. You just get home, you explode all your crap. Maybe you end up washing your chemise, before you get back into the next, like Friday rolls around and you've got to get the car packed, get on the road, get to the next event. And
look, I do a tunic snip. It's fine.
Yeah, that too. I'm not saying I haven't just done that frequently, but the fact that it is now, you have the ability to just slow down, take a deep breath, take stock of everything. You can fix your gear. You can fix that tear in the pavilion that's been there for the last 3 years and not dealt with. You can do that. We haven't, but we can. We certainly
there
have.
It is.
Watch though. It's not going to get repaired until after we have the next event.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot that buckle was broken 2 years ago.
Are you in this picture and you don't like it? Because that's how I feel.
So my sword broke twice last time I was fighting, and so like it's stripped down and redone now.
Oh god, Thorfinn has like been wanting to remake like everything for years. Hasn't done. That's fine.
I have broken every cup hilt I own now.
Uh-huh.
I have one cup hilt. It's the cup hilt that I started fighting with because it's made out of 1/4-inch bar stock, and that's it. All the expensive $100 plus spring steel floobity blue cup hilts that I have bought, every single one of them is broken.
So when I buy the spring steel ones, I order a series of tangs with them. So I buy the cup hilts, and then I get like 6 extra tangs because I break a tang about every 6 months because I'm an idiot and block with my hand.
Yeah, I shouldn't.
2 months. 2 months my first one lasted.
Yep.
But I'm actually going to go machine one out for myself.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I can sit there with my technical skills and reinforce that instead of a 90-degree, I can have a curve. That's my plan. Haven't done it. Planned to do that about a year ago.
Your knight should kick you in the ass about that.
I designed it and everything.
Are we ready for the next question?
Baby Ninja just said something to me. What was that?
Yeah.
Baby Ninja says, thanks for calling everyone out on stuff we haven't gotten done yet. You know what, though? I was calling myself out, okay? There's not going to be. And I don't like it. That's exactly it. Well, you know what, though? We got loads of time because SCA is not coming back until January, or February, actually, January 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we ready for the next question?
Do the next question.
All right. So Tullia, you're gonna end up having to help me with pronunciation of this name.
Angus.
Angus?
Yeah, Angus Leohtulf. It looks like Angus Leohtulf.
I hate language. Just so you all know.
I definitely believe it's Angus. Angus? I don't know. Yeah, if you're listening, tell us if we fucked it up.
Asks, what do you feel peers can be doing at events to highlight and support those who are not peers?
Please talk to us. We don't know what we don't know. We don't realize. I know that you're just people, peers. But if you see me do the dumb or the good, that's so rare. And I don't know what happened, so I can't reproduce it if I don't know. So please just come up and talk to us. I know a lot of us are wearing red belts, so it's like somebody peed on us, but I doubt they'll get mad. Like, that's how I feel. Like, just talk to us and tell us. There have been times where I've been approached, not even by my knight, but like by another unbelt who was approached by other knights who were like, "Hey, get your boy. He's fucking up."
I hate that.
I'm right here. Like, I was here the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're the scary one because you've got the thing. I don't have the thing. I want to be the thing. Science.
I think that that's actually a really good point, and it kind of goes to what I was going to say, which was listen to the non-peers. And a lot of times peers talk about say, like, come to me. Like, I know Helga and I have said this many times in the show, like, come to me if you something's going on or you have a problem or something like that. Don't be afraid to approach me. And I realize that's not really that easy in reality. It's hard, and I feel it's hard to just walk up to somebody sometimes, even non-peer, whoever. I've got social anxiety, so I walk up to somebody and like, hi, I had to like get kind of tipsy before I had the guts to actually say words to you, so I hope they make sense.
Thank you. I'm so awkward.
I know. Oh God, we're a society of very awkward people. Society for creative awkwardness is really what it is. I think that peers can absolutely already understand that it takes a lot of nerve to talk to somebody that you probably don't know very well, regardless of their station in the SCA, and just now dial that up. If you're a non-peer and you're trying to talk to a peer about something, that could be incredibly anxiety provoking. And so to be, we can't be mind readers. That is the annoying thing about the human brain is that we are not equipped to read somebody's mind. Imagine the weirdness if we were. But we're also, and a lot of times not everybody is a very good body language reader. I'm very good at reading body language. I can read facial expression and body language very, very well. So I can see when I see somebody at the kind of like the edge of the conversation who's kind of like, looks like they really want to like screw up their nerve to like say something. And for me, having that moment of, hey, you, and hopefully not putting them on the spot and freaking them out, because I've done that. And I'm not so good at that as well. But, to basically identify that person, or at least circle back with that person and say, hey, I think that, I saw you look like you maybe wanted to ask a question. Is there anything I can help you with? So it's not just being available to listen to non-peers, it's also being able to identify when somebody is a little nervous about asking a question, and that happens a lot, and it's hard. It is a hard thing. It's a thing that requires practice. It's a thing that requires a lot of observation. And if you're at like a crown tournament, those are the worst times to catch anybody to ask anything. and it's it's oftentimes the only time people have that chance to ask anybody something, and so it's a real catch-22. But to try, peers, just try to see the person standing at the edge that really wants to ask a question that probably doesn't have the guts at the moment, and circle back, find them, sit with them, talk with them, and listen.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out how to answer this eloquently. What do I feel that peers could be doing at events to highlight support those that are not peers? Working to be more approachable, actually, is where I'm going to put that. Is we have to remember that we are tools for our non-peers in situations where they need support, and so understanding that and then embracing that, I think, is actually key for peers. So if somebody comes to me and says, as a knight, I need somebody to help me with X, I should take on that role so I can then help them get through that problem or that process or that conversation. And so I think that more peers need to be available for that without placing their ego on it. So it's the surrendering to your station conversation of, if somebody asks me to be a knight, I need to allow them to punch that button. If they ask me to be a pelican, I need to allow them to punch that button. If they ask me to be a royal peer or a peer, just a general peer, to be a space that gives them power to deal with whatever is going on, I need to be willing to lend myself to that and let them know that that's available. And so in letting non-peers around you know that that's available is actually key. Like, hey, if you need help doing X, Y, and Z, or you need somebody to back you in doing X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to step on your toes. I'm going to let you lead. But when you need me to be a tool for either mass destruction or mass support, I'm here for you. Because peers already have the word fame by just being a peer. They have walked the walk. They have supposedly talked the talk, and they have a peerage that they can lay out on a table like a dick. We need to allow other people to use that for their benefit versus our own. Tullia is just like, could you have put that better?
Serious, a visual of me just whipping out the biggest fucking dildo and just being like, there's my peerage. Hi, this is why you're not. This is why this is not rated for children.
The age-old question: if they whip it out and throw it on a table, did it make a noise?
I mean, come on. Have you ever watched knights measure their belts? Where like,
oh yeah,
my belt is longer than yours, or my chain is heavier than yours. My fealty weighs more.
Like, I came from the era of the ridiculously long night belt, like to the point where you would step on it, literally step on your own dick.
I step on my squire belt a lot, like way too much.
But that's my take on it, is that we should be available to actually be used like that, because we are lending. So like, Lochlainn, if you got in trouble and you came and found me and said, hey, I need a knight for this situation, I don't need you to say anything, but I need you to lend me your renown for a moment. I may ask you why before I just blindly lend you my renown. But like, if I'm behind it, I'm gonna be like, yeah, go forth, use my name for destruction and or good.
That's such a foreign, as an unbelt, to use somebody else in that kind of scenario is such a foreign concept to me, because one of the first things, or the main lessons my dad ever taught me is no one's coming to help you. You got to help yourself. So the thought of, like, he left me at the top of a double black diamond when I was skiing blues. Like, it wasn't right. And I was like, get the ski patrol. And he was like, no, fuck you. Like, figure it out, stupid. Like,
I have a soapbox behind this. And so is everybody ready for this ride?
Okay, we're doing a soapbox. I'm just over here like fucking with my hair. I just decided to just like fall
just
apart.
Because you survived out of a series of abusive relationships doesn't mean that anybody else should be to be worth your time.
That's true.
High five.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you should remember that and use that as you become a peer, because Lochlainn, eventually you will be a peer. I have all faith in that. Is just because you survived an abuse or you survived a situation which was ungodly doesn't mean that somebody else should have to prove themselves against that to be worth your time. And I have to remember that every day because I have $50,000 in my right arm to touch my face again and fight. I can never hold anybody to that standard. Otherwise, I would never say yes to somebody else coming into Knights Council. You cannot hold people against your own traumas to be worthy of your time.
That's fair.
And soapbox right there.
I'm like, I can't really follow any of with anything.
Can we go to a fun question now?
Let's go to a fun question before it starts to be like somebody already.
Welcome to my function.
Well, somebody in the comments already said I did not expect a therapy session tonight.
I'm sorry. Apparently tonight I've just been like.
They also said thank you. It's been very helpful, but at the same time, yeah, we are your SCA. I always used to say actually that there needed to be an SCA therapist, and I'm kind of thinking maybe Joe.
Enjoying my fantasy comes with getting over my reality.
I would like to note this blonde wig has powers.
It does. I gave it to her. I imbued it with fabulousness before she got it. So.
So next question, and it's your turn.
Like a shit ton of comments in like the last 1 minute. Okay, next question. Is it me? It's me. From Attilio. What does it take for an unbelted fighter to be recognized as a potential squire or man-at-arms? I can't answer this question. So.
No, actually, so I'm going to be the asshole for a moment. Before anybody answers this question, I was the one that chose this question for the show. Because we have 3 different viewpoints on here. Okay. We have an unbelt who is on here, who has seen the outside and seen the selection happen and been a part of the process and very emotionally invested. We have a non-fighter who has seen this process from the outside of everything, so no investment. And then we have a knight who has once been a squire, actually twice been a squire, and then knighted, and now has a man-at-arms and has a squire as soon as I can actually give him a belt. So I want everybody to answer this question because I think all 3 perspectives are very, very valid and should be heard.
Okay, right. Well then, Lochlainn, it's all you.
Okay. There's going to be a soapbox included in this one.
God damn.
Tips up, motherfuckers.
We tried to make this fun. Like, why is it soapboxing?
Look. Some fighters, when we come in, and I know that's not really the question, but I've got a place to speak. If we come in and we don't know the rules, don't expect us to approach you because we probably don't think we're allowed to. So, like, honestly, I think a lot of the time, sometimes you'll. It feels like knights will go, that guy's really big. I want him as a man-at-arms and or squire. It could be that simple. Or I've also heard other expectations of, hey, you've got to do this series of challenges, and then maybe I might find you worthy to be a man-at-arms. It's very, very specific to the knight, to the prospect. You can't. There's no real rule, and that's a very hard thing to understand. And I already understand it. Like I've already been through it. But for a guy who's like, where are we going? He's walking around like a penguin, just following the other penguins. Where are we going? Are we doing this? Okay, I guess this is what's happening. Like he doesn't know. He doesn't know that he's a. Wait, you could just walk up to somebody and go, I would like to learn from you. That's allowed. But also, you don't have to say yes to the first person that asks you. So that's, that's a thing. So for me, I don't actually know why I was a prospect. I never really understood that in the beginning, because I was like, I guess I could block stuff, and I was 6'4" and 300 pounds and had a potato chip for a shield and was not immediately dying, I assume. It was a bad idea, but I still did it, and it was not immediately getting my lunch eaten. So
who's your knight, Lochlainn?
My knight is Count Heinrich von Schwarzenberg the Sinister.
A sinister, yes. Okay. Maybe he saw something in you. I don't know.
I know. Like, he approached me after my very first war and was like, hey, I want to talk to you about this thing. I was like, what's that? What's man-at-arms? What does that entail? I've only heard of squires.
Mm.
And
well, let's explain. Actually, we should explain what a man-at-arms is, because maybe people listening don't know what the difference is between a man-at-arms or a squire. So, Lochlainn, if you want to.
So my understanding of a man-at-arms is it's kind of a trial period between you and your prospective knight, as it was explained to me. You have that relationship of guidance, you have that relationship of protection, but there's not yet a fealty. There's not yet a ride or die, you know? Like, it's kind of like a probie in Sons of Anarchy. Like, you're there, you're trying to prove yourself. And I served for a year and a day, and then, like, the day before my year and a day was up, my knight won crown. And I literally went, hey, can we postpone it? Postpone squiring? Because I don't want to be the guy who got squired because he became king. I want this to be above ground. So for me, like, it was a proving time. And it was also a time to go, hey, I like you enough to want to continue this relationship. That's really important, I think. So at any time, I could have walked away and said, hey, you're not the guy. At any time, he could have looked at me and be like, you're definitely not the guy. And that would have been it.
That also can hold true, though, for even if you are a squire or protege or apprentice. I mean, it's okay to walk away if the relationship isn't working.
Yeah.
You know, and but that's another discussion.
Incredibly valid. But
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Some people take oaths very, very seriously.
Oh, this girl, for sure. Yes, I am playing with a clip, by the way. Anyway, but yes.
So, yeah. My attitude towards becoming a knight or a squire, I've heard of squires who just skipped the man-at-arms altogether. And they went, hey, I want to learn from you. And their knight went, great, here's a red belt. It just literally went over on. So it's highly custom.
I want to insert one quick thing. Alizon actually had a really good point in the chat, and she said you don't have to enter into any peer-student relationship if you don't want to. That's another thing too. But again, a different conversation, but it is also valid to say that, you know, you don't have to do it even if you've been asked. You also just don't have to do it, period. If it's not for you, that's not necessarily the only path to a peerage. So, Helga.
What it takes for an unbelted fighter to be recognized as a potential squire man-at-arms, for me, is so I try to be the available knight. I realize that I geek over fighting. Like, I absolutely geek over fighting. You can ask anybody close to me. Like, I will sit and talk for hours about footwork with you, or like analyze video or anything else like that. And I'm actually even trying to start doing it online more, where people can video chat in and we can discuss a video. And so what it takes for me to be seen as a potential man-at-arms or like a permanent student is the family bond. Is one, are you coming to me beyond fighting recognition? So, like, people can come to me and I'm going to freely give them my time about, like, we can talk about footwork, we can talk about stick mechanics, we can talk about body mechanics until the day is long. But the thing is, do you want to be somebody that if I end up homeless, I can sleep on your couch? Or if you end up homeless, you're going to sleep on my couch? Or I'm always going to make sure you have food on your plate. And so that's what it takes for me to be recognized as that, is beyond the fighting bond. Because I can guarantee that I will probably take some students on that will never actually meet the peerage bar. But they are people that I'm willing to protect and house and feed until the day I die. Because I know that it's a mutual thing. And so for me, that process is kind of a long vetting process. And you can ask poor Eva and Demir about this, where they were pretty much like, no, really, I'm your protege. Like, this is going to be official. And then they both just hounded me until we developed this relationship. And if either of them call me, I will drive, I don't care how many miles, I will buy a plane ticket, I will make sure they're taken care of. And so for me, that student recognition is developing beyond the bond, beyond the normal exchange of information into you are my chosen family. And I realize that I'm not the norm in that. But also, I don't want anybody that's actually afraid of me. And so where I will approach students, and I try to make sure that I'm very open about approaching people and being like, hey, would you like feedback? If they say no, cool, great, pew pew, I will fuck right the fuck off. If they say yes, then cool, we can sit and geek, and it's a free exchange of information. But getting past that exchange of information is, am I going to rescue you on the side of the road, or are you going to rescue me? Like, that's actually a different conversation.
I think it's, and I think I've said this before, but in a slightly different question, but it was kind of like how does someone become like an apprentice, protege, squire kind of a thing in the previous show, which is I made the analogy that it's like getting into a relationship with somebody. To take it to that next level. I also wanted to point out too that Bridge just chimed in on the chat and said that in certain other kingdoms, squires will take men-at-arms. That it's not how it is here in the West, where we have we're only knights will take a man-at-arms as kind of like a trial squire to see if it works. In other kingdoms, the squire will take a man-at-arms as sort of a teaching experience kind of a thing, I think, or mentoring experience. It's slightly different. Yes, you look like you have an opinion.
So I would like to say, as a Westerner, everybody drink. That really tweaks me in like the weirdest way. But as a trainer, I'm like, hell yes, like do this thing, because you have to learn. Like, before you are a peer, you should actually learn how to teach, and the only way to do that is actually to try to teach. That peerage does not magically imbue the information that it takes to teach somebody or to be a leader. It's like that: no belt, no laurel leaf, no pell medallion, no mod medallion, no set of leaves on you will save your ass when you try to teach somebody if you haven't already tried. And so I'm really not Western in that. Yeah, it's not magic. So I'm actually realized that I am not Western in that, where I'm like, squares taking man-at-arms?
Well,
awesome.
I think it's a wording difference, because you actually see it in the West with the non-chivalric, the non-chiv peerages, where at least as far as the laurel is concerned, I've seen it happen, and I've kind of encouraged it in my apprentices as well, to take a student, to take somebody who is not on the same skill level as them, but wants to learn more, to allow them to. Again. We'll get him back. But anyway, to just finish my thought is that you'll get this teaching experience, the mentoring experience, and everything that you can find with, or that you're going to experience once you become a peer, for sure. Because it's a big part of being a peer is the mentoring and the teaching and the, all of that nuts and bolts kind of stuff. And I do encourage that. Let's see. There was my question, or my answer to this question is, so it's hard. It's hard for me to answer this because I've been an apprentice. And so I can come at it from that angle. I was an apprentice. And I made the choice to apprentice to a Laurel, knowing that it wasn't necessary, that it wasn't, a thing that I had to do. But I had a good, I clicked really well with this one Laurel and had a great time. And she's like, "Hey, you want to be my apprentice?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? That's cool." But it wasn't necessary. But I do hear a lot of, I think it varies from peer to peer, how emotionally invested you need to be or want to be in your dependence. And there's a thought here that's kind of like half formed, and I'm kind of trying to like get at it. I have a hard time defining what it means for me to want to take an apprentice on, so I don't know how I can actually answer what it means for another order to take a squire. I'm really struggling with it. Maybe I'll come up with something and I'll post it on Facebook. Just on the.
We're
on
all
the
meatbags.
We are all meatbags. We are.
I actually wonder if it's more socially acceptable outside of the chivalric period. So this is very Western centric, and I'm just going to start with this is very Western centric. I believe that it's actually more acceptable within the Western standard for a protege or a apprentice to take on a student, and to be teaching and basically using their knowledge with another human being before it is for a squire to do the same. I think it's actually this weird dichotomy that happens because we have a lot of our apprentices and proteges are very much so encouraged to be like, go work with these other people. Like, I want to see you teaching. I want to see you taking on this knowledge. And so they're developing those relationships with an unofficial title, but it's more socially standard acceptable for that to happen than a squire to do that, to be like, oh, I'm working with this person. And then all the chivalry is like, what are you doing? You are not a knight. Do not do that.
Do they?
I've gotten actually a very different. I have been hard encouraged. Hey, you need to teach. You need to be seen teaching. You need to go out and fucking teach all the things that we've taught you because God damn it, dude. So I've actually had that conversation with people. They're like, hey man, like you've got a lot of experience. And I'm like, fuck no, I don't. And they're like, no, seriously, you do. And I'm like, okay. They're like, you should share that, maybe, dumbass. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's actually one of the things that I aspire to do with practice is like, if I can share, is get up the confidence to go, hey, I know this thing. I can see that you're doing this thing. It's not a great thing. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you how to fix it. If I know how to do that, now I'm just like, hey, and I've done it with unbelts, and I have done it with knights. And I've worked half a practice with a knight going, dude, you are sticking your elbow out every time, and I'm cranking you. Every time I'm throwing the same shot every time. Just change where you drop your fist. I've spent half a practice, and then Sir so-and-so got it. And it was really cool when I died. So cool.
I hate when somebody kills me like 30 seconds after I've had the conversation with the conversation that I just had with them, where I'm just like, good on you. Also,
the ground. You're better.
All right, so we're ready to roll to the next question?
Yeah, let's roll to the next question.
I would like to say one thing before we do. If your knight is not willing to break into your granny's house so that you can catch a flight out of the country because your luggage is in there and you've locked yourself out, is he really the knight for you? I'm just saying.
That's pretty good test right there.
B&E, that's a good one. Is that like a misdemeanor or a felony in the state?
He said it was cool. She was cool.
Are you assaulting Granny in the process is the question.
No, she's not there. That's why you're locked out.
Just, that's awesome.
Lochlainn, I imagine your Granny is totally like, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Dude, she's 6 feet, and I've heard stories about her with a bullwhip. I do not underestimate my granny.
I would like to note that if you had met both my grandmothers before they passed away, I am 100% related to them.
My one surviving grandmother just turned 98 last week. Might as well have been a year ago, God knows. All right, let's do the next question.
All right, so the next question comes from Lochlainn. Who is your emotional support demon?
Demon. Demon is shy. Honestly, it's a toss-up. I've got a couple of demons in my closet. Eva is a pretty good demon. She suggests trucks.
I just heard, hey!
The other one, Bjorn or Lucas McDonald, as he is known now. I'm going to drink Monty. That dude gets me into trouble. In fact, during this show, he has tried to get me to break, and I haven't done it. Have you know?
Has he been messaging you privately?
Oh, yeah, the whole time. Horrible things. They're amazing. I love seeing them. And a non-SCA buddy of mine named Phil from the East Coast. That dude, although he's gotten soft. I almost broke up his marriage this week. It's fine. Over a meme. But those kept me in trouble. The most out of anybody. A jar full of it.
Miss Tullia?
God, yeah, it's hard to pick just one. I have like a whole army of little support demons. I would say number one is my boyfriend Thorfinn.
Oh, I just drank it.
He's my boyfriend, for God's sake.
Sip.
Don't repeat it. We're already we had 30 minutes of tech issues, which meant we were drinking into the show.
Hey, how come we don't get to drink every single time you reference Hansa?
It's not. It is nowhere near.
I would like to note that nobody heard Baby Ninja saying it's nowhere near as often that I reference Hansa for her referencing Thorfinn, and that's the reason why Hansa's not a role.
That is not true. That is not true. I believe. Okay, so now Baby Ninja is going to go through all 18 shows. Count every single time I've referenced Thorfinn versus Helga referencing Hansa. Anyways, I fucking
you are so far.
You didn't live in
Okay. So none of our audience can hear the Baby Ninja sass. So let's answer this question so we can go to the after show where we're gonna sort of.
I kind of wish that we could actually hear the Baby Ninja sass because it cuts in and there's some really, really cutting remarks in background.
All right, and
anyways,
I'm too drunk to differentiate.
Yeah, he's our disembodied voice. He is our wizard behind the curtain. But I was gonna say, so that guy, my BFF, Ciela, Helga, who has talked me off of many a fucking ledge in my lifetime. I think those would be my top three, right now in this world. Yeah. All right, Helga, you do it.
So my emotional support demon has a costume for being my emotional support demon, and I'm in a blonde wig over it, who is Tullia, who talked me into this show, who was my head of court when my head of court then became crown princess, who has quickly become one of my most dear friends, even though we can flat throw down in an argument, by the way. Both her and I can be I am adamantly against your point of view. Let's discuss you mix cocktails. which is the reason why she's my emotional support demon, because she doesn't always agree with my choices. My other emotional support demon I'm actually going to go with is the Lady of the Lake. For much the same reason. I like my emotional support demons sassy, aggressive, and don't always agree with me, because I don't need people kissing my ass to get jobs done. I really don't want that, actually. It's the reason why my proteges are the way they are, because both my proteges will be like, you done fucked up. Which I really like in human beings around me. And my third emotional support demon happens to be Brid, or Marissa, and she is a delight. And
wait, I know you said her SCA name, but then you followed up by her
mundane name. Everybody drink. But she is actually, I think that she is a treasure that a lot of people miss. Brid is both highly intelligent, very well educated, but she holds some hardline views. And if you can get into a conversation about them, she's brilliant, and she's super fun to have these conversations with, and she is just this font of knowledge that I think is not appreciated enough. And she is somebody that I go to, so I'm trying to learn how to do research right now. I'm trying to better myself in my shield arts, and she is the first person I go to be like, hey, I need somebody to call me on my bullshit right now, because I really feel like I'm kind of writing this paper at 3 o'clock in the morning after visiting 7-Eleven for my 5th Red Bull. So can you please taskmaster me on this? And she is my buddy for that. So she is my I have a multitude of emotional support demons, but those are the people that are it. All right, so does that put us ready for the bonus question? Because the bonus question is dangerous.
I still don't have an answer to this one, so, it's all on you guys.
All right, do you want to read the bonus question, or shall I?
So this is from More. I know I'm butchering your name, and I apologize. Okay, his baby ninja said, More Tsubaki, thank you. I would like to hear your best no shit there I was story.
There's so many.
There's so many.
One,
I think that's what she said when she posted.
One that I appreciate, it was just next level. Here we were, setting the stage. West End Tier. I know you all have different name for it, but it's West End Tier in my heart.
Because you're a Westie. Of course it's West End Tier. Duh.
There I was. We're doing a bridge battle. We're allowed to step on the hay bales. It's weird. Oh, or maybe it was a broken field. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I hit a line. I fucked up. I died immediately. I come off the field. I'm so happy to be off the field because that's where I get water and I get to chill out and watch fighting, which I love. And so I turn around and I'm drinking a little bit of water, eating some snacks, and all of a sudden I see this little black and white blur just flea jump off one of these hay bales, wearing a kabuto helm with a 3.5-foot warhammer that he is swinging in the air, like fully feet off the ground, like 3 feet off the ground. Cranks somebody while being in the air with sufficient force to bowl them over, and then before he hits the ground, exchanges his entire power structure to baseball some dude in the head on his landing. I'd never seen anything so fucking cool. Ever. And Sir Takeshi Dono, just fucking dudes up. Like air cavalry in Vietnam movie. Like there should have been Wagner playing in the background as he was flying. It was incredible.
I nearly snorted.
That was one of my all-time favorite moments because I saw the bar get raised that day. And I knew I would never meet that bar because I'm not that spry. So, Sir Takeshi, double killing midair is one of my no shit there I was.
You know, I knew him in high school.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Takeshi. Yeah, him and me. We go way back. He actually went to high school with my ex-boyfriend, and that's how I met him. So actually, and that's how I got, kind of into the. I'd already met the SCA at that point, and then met that group of boys that were all the same age as me, 16, 17 years old, and through the SCA, and that was that group. And Takeshi was part of that group. So yeah, I've known him since high school.
I'm super impressed, actually. Like, the SCA kind of gets weirdly small as it goes along.
It is very small. Yeah.
The fact that I'm in the OP, like, next to my best friend. So, James, Christoph, and I started at the same time fighting. So I found fighting, and then he found fighting. He was knighted 4.5 months before I was.
Yeah.
So I remember being 13 in the SCA and like 14 and seeing Takeshi back in the day with the boffer fights.
Oh god damn, you know my people. That's who you know.
Oh yeah, no, I was into the boffers.
That was mysterious. That was the we were a little fringy household that did nothing but boffer fight, and that was good time.
Fucking glory. The glory found on the boffer field. Like,
and which was really I missed that. Oh my god.
So to have a shield, you were so cool if you had a boffer legal shield. Like, we all had legal swords. That's it. Some of us had creations that should never have gotten there.
So I'll actually say that right now as a knight, one of the coolest things and one of the things that kind of like feeds my dream is going and playing with our youth. So we have youth combat now. We still have boffer fighting, and I actually try to actively make sure that I've got energy and time to go play with those participating in that. Because especially in our youth combat, they're just about to bridge over. They're between 4 and 0 months into bridging over into heavy fighting. And so I will just, any heavy fighters listening to this right now or later on, go spend time with your youth combatants. Like, I don't care if you're a knight, I don't care if you're an unbelt, I don't care who the fuck you are. They will teach you the meaning of fun on the fighting field. Like, just end of story, hands down. The youth of our kingdom is not only valuable, but they are just a pure and unadulterated version of fighting. There is so much fun to be had with them. Like, yeah, it's not rattan fighting. There's not the same risk. I'll tell you that they are just a ball to fight with. There is so much fun to be had, and our youth bring back so much joy. And if you are struggling right now, if you are struggling to find your dream again, go hang with our youth. Go see the SCA through their eyes, because they're fucking worth it. And they're so much fun. Like, I have had my ass kicked by a 12-year-old. Like, no joke. There's a 12-year-old in the West Kingdom that has a better flat snap than mine, and that's saying something, and just having an ego moment there. And it was so much fun to be smoked by that kid. Just absolutely fucking smoked. And then I was like, hang on 1 second. We're going to have a rematch.
Nothing like getting ganked by a 13-year-old.
Yeah, and just...
That's really put you into perspective.
I want to chime in and say that I love the fact that has changed significantly since when I was a young teenager in the SCA nearly 30 years ago. And at the time, we were shit on heavily for boffer fighting and trying to do all these activities that, were not considered, I don't know, mainstream, acceptable, whatever. We really got, it was not, there was some bad blood, but yeah, it's good to see that it's actually picking up and changing. So.
Yeah. So
that's really a bummer.
That's your like extra thing for this thing is go hang with our youth combat. Our youth combat's amazing, and I don't think they're appreciated enough by the heavy community, because holy crap, are they fun! And they're little sponges. They want to learn so much. So, but to answer the question of best no shit there I was story, so Great Western War, we are charging the castle. So we're doing the zombie castle battle where the inside only has 2 reses, the outside has unlimited. They're timing how quickly we can take the castle. And at one point, we're all charging in, and there's like me and Havek and Mark and a couple other people, and Havek and I get, like, Havek doesn't get smoked. I get smoked. Havek doesn't get smoked, but he gets ganked. And then there's Mark standing in the middle of this castle with his a bastard sword. Like, no shit, just a bastard sword. And he is being a Jedi. Like, just an absolute Jedi. And and the castle, by the way, has an entrance and then it splits into a T. And so this Jedi moment, he's standing in the middle, basically the kill pocket of it, and he is controlling the kill pocket. And he killed, I counted 14, other people counted more, other people counted less, so we averaged it out to about 15 people that he killed in that moment. And the entire Western army and all of our allies just sat there and watched. Like, to rescue him, nothing else. Like, we left him to die because all of us were in awe of what was going on. Because there was at one point where he, like, matrixed a spear, killed the dude behind him with a thrust. Like, no joke, just blink, kills the dude across this T with a thrust, and then nukes the spearman that he fucking matrixed. It was insane to watch. It was one of those moments where you think that you're watching, like, some Bruce Lee moment in a movie that's choreographed, and you're like, I'm watching this real time. This is not choreographed, and every one of those motherfuckers want to hit him. And it's not happening. It's actually just not. Like, how are you still alive? And so we sat back and watched everybody try to nuke him. And it was probably about 45 seconds of chaos, which really feels about like 5 minutes of chaos when you go back and retell the story. But that is definitely one of the outside no shit there I was moments. Is I was a part of the first charge, and he was still alive when I walked back to the res point and then came back to watch him kill 14 people. That's what I counted. And I was gone to walk to the res point and back. And just everybody sat there and watched what was happening. It was epic. It was one of the epic, like, heroic moments of the SCA. Like, one of the heroes stood on the bridge and took this castle. Like, I watched that in real time. And then when he died, we all ran in and, like, mowed over the castle. But, like, we had to watch him do his thing first.
I don't have one. I don't, because you know what? When you sew costumes, it's not like, oh my god, and then she ninja this costume out of thin air. It's just, you don't do that. No, there's nothing really about that.
I would like to know what costuming think you're magic.
I have watched costumers fuck something into existence. It's amazing.
But that's not a no shit there. I was, Gary. That's
it was for me.
Holy shit. Can you believe that tutors put that on screen? What? Come on. That's what that is.
I think that counts as a no shit there I was, because both Lochlainn and I are heavy fighters. That colors our no shit there I was stories. Same with the SCA tends to be heavy fighter centric. There's still some no shit there I was sewing stories where, like, no shit there I was sewing with Duchess Mari in 30 degrees. 30 degrees, because the house didn't have heat. And we're doing Venetians, and you have to get buck-ass naked to make sure those things fit right. And so
that's just normal. That's just fucking normal.
Yeah, but that's insane. As a fighter, I'm like, I want to tell you that as a fighter, I'm like, fuck you. Your no shit there I was story is way more badass than mine, because I had temperature control and choice in the situation, versus you're like, I was in 3 layers of silk and a bunch of boning, and it was 30 fucking degrees, and my nipples were going to fall off.
Yeah, no, like some of the sewing stories that I've heard, I've been on the edge of my goddamn seat for, because I'm like, fucking wow, it's so out of my skill set that I'm just like,
we don't have a culture of telling the story the way the fighting community has the culture of telling the no shit there I was story. It doesn't quite translate. Like, I pulled some really amazing shit out of my ass.
Lochlainn, I'm going to throw you under a bus here because you can do this with me. Hey. You can actually meet this bus. This is a bus that both you and I can do that. So, Tullia, I want to challenge you and the fighting community to bring us your no shit there I was stories, and we will translate it into a fighter no shit there I was story.
Christ. Okay. I mean, like the time that I pulled an entire Elizabethan outfit out of my butt in 24 hours. Okay. That's just an average.
Way more impressive than anything I've ever done on the field.
Why did you lead with that?
I was my 20s and 30s, just in a blur of just holy shit, I have nothing to wear, even though I've got 40 costumes I can wear. I have nothing to wear to the event this weekend. Well, I've got to make something. Well, I've got 9 yards of this velvet and 10 yards of this silk and 24 hours fucking on it. And that's all I did was sit and sew like this for about 20 of those 24 hours.
I sewed 9 inches, maybe 18 inches of linen together by hand once. And I am so proud.
Good.
I'm so goddamn proud of that. So the fact
that you should be, I'm proud of you.
Came up with an Elizabethan outfit. I worked all weekend to get that 8 inches. That's what she said. Wait, are we not doing phrasing?
No, we're not doing. Okay, this show does not have phrasing. I want to be super clear.
Said Ripley to the android bishop. No, that's not.
Yeah. So, Lochlainn, I'm going to need you to put on your hat for the closing comments, and then we'll go from there.
Do I need to put my hood on?
Only if you want to for closing comments. I just required it out of Lochlainn. All right.
Okay, well, I guess I'm a team player, goddammit.
So, with that, what we're going to do is we're going to move to closing comments for the show, because at this point, we are all happily drunk. We've had a hilarious time. I want to say thank you so much to our tech crew who worked tirelessly to get us going again. And so, please, if anybody wants to send thank yous for the show, send it to them. Curious and Baby Ninja are just amazing. And so, with that, does anybody have any closing remarks? Lochlainn, you would do the first.
Listen, man. One of the questions that was asked, I'm going to answer because I've been thinking about it all week, and I will have my say. My theme song.
Oh, that was a good one.
You up, never gonna let you down, never run away and hurt you.
This is where we just nuke the feed.
And just said he's trying to turn this stream off, turn it around.
Turn this.
I love it right now. When that song came out, I loved that song when it came out. I was 10. Who wouldn't? As a
if you've ever read My Shield, you should know that's my theme song.
I can hear it.
Goodbye, never gonna turn around and whatever.
You can hear Eva in the background, and I love her to death.
I'm sorry, the mechanic from Eureka is in the music video. It's the greatest thing in the world.
So, Mr. Sassy Seamstress, do you have any closing remarks?
Closing remarks, I love each and every one of you wacky bastards. That's my closing remark.
All right. And so my closing remarks were literally, I just want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. I want to thank the tech crews of all the amazing shows going on. Keep doing what you're doing because you're making it so we can rock it during this time of weird pandemic. And with that, we're going to roll right into show plugs. And so, Lochlainn, do you have a show that you would like to give a shout out to?
It's not so much a show, but an experience. It is Leohtulf's 4:30 every day practice. He's posted in Kingdom. He's posted in the Principalities. It's awesome. I've done more Pell work since this pandemic and everything started and shelter in place started than I've ever done in my life. And then I get feedback because they're watching. They're watching! So try it out. Cool. Seriously, try it out.
Mine is Kalbardr's Korner, even though he was giving me massive amounts of shit in the comments tonight. Let me just say, I see you. Kalbardr. That's what Baby Ninja says I should call you, is Kalbardr. But Kalbardr's Korner is a really great YouTube show that is it's kind of an interesting book review, comments, discussion thing. It's hard to really describe, but you should definitely check it out. We'll keep it, of course, in our show notes, and hopefully he'll continue giving me shit in the comments going forward, because I see what you did there. I know you. I see you.
And so my shout out is to the Known World Virtual Fighter Practice. I wanted to say that Vesper has been amazing in content production for the heavy fighting community while we've been in this pandemic, and she and her crew host just an insane amount of content. Go find them, go check it out, and like and follow them, because it is worth it. And I also realized that my wig is getting a little off. We are now getting into the tipsy portion tonight. So,
are we going to have tipsy with Tullia tonight?
Well, I figured we would just... I'm about to plug the Discord here in a moment.
Oh, do it. Yeah.
So, to give commercial updates, we now have a fillable Google form. So, if you know merchant friends, if you know other shows that would like to have a commercial spot on our show, we are trying to help support those in need during the pandemic. Our merchants need us to continue to support them, because there is no events going on right now. No Penzik, no Estrella, no Gulf Wars, all of that. So the people that are our merchants and depend on us to go shop their wares are now nothing but online. And so we are trying to host a small spot for them so we can continue to support them. So if you know them, send a message to Between Two Peers. We will give you the form that you can send them, and we will do a commercial for them. It's also at no cost. However, we do accept bribes. And so with that, I wanted to say, I want to say that the mead that I was sent for the show, super solid.
Who sent you?
So Dom and his lady in Aidenvelt sent me a bottle of mead. And brown chilies and the prickly pear syrup as we get to hang out with. Dom is an amazing brewer, so he's a knight, a laurel, and a pelican. He was made a pelican and a laurel the same day. He was knighted a year later. His lady is to die for. She is so snarky and so beautifully amazing. But they sent me a gift, and that gift is definitely higher content than I thought it was. So, with that, I just want to say thank you all to continuing to support the show, to watching us, and then following us online. However, we do have an update. We now have a Discord channel. If you want the link or the invite to the Discord channel to follow us at Between Two Peers, it is now in chat. Baby Ninja has just dropped that. You are welcome to come join us. We have a live, everybody can come chat with us. We have a guest chat. We will be doing Q&As. We will just be hanging out. And there's also a general chat channel that we can all just kind of bounce into and hang out and talk whatever time of the week we want. We want to continue to support those who are listening. And also, everybody should understand that this show exists because you guys are here still. And so we want to say thank you. And as the hosts, we understand that we are here because of you. We are here because of guests like Lochlainn that decide that they're going to show up and drink with us and hang out in silly hats and debate SCA topics and take on the hard things and the fun things. And so thank you very much. Remember to like, share, and follow because it helps us support continuing to go. And now follow us on Discord and come hang out with us for the after show. So with that, good night, everybody, and thank you so much.
Peace out to your mothers.
Bye, Felicia.